Hello everyone, and welcome to the first public devlog for my game, currently titled Project Aelia. Project Aelia is a top-down 2D JRPG styled game set in a world reminiscent of classic high fantasy games. It serves as my tribute to a genre I love and the way I've wanted to tell a story I've had in my head and attempted to create several times for the last 6 years through D&D and other video game projects. Today we will be discussing all of the features in my first tech demo and laying out a brief plan for the future of this game. To make this tech demo, here on, I will call it Demo 1 or 0.1.0, copyrighted, trademarked, or otherwise unlicensed material was used, so I ask that any sharing of the files go through me personally, with any redistribution being a violation of my terms as a tester. This video is separated into several chapters for your convenience, and I highly recommend hopping around if you're interested in other aspects. Any and all feedback, no matter how granular, is welcome, even if you don't have access to the game, and I greatly appreciate your interest. There's also a Discord linked in the description of this video, which will give you easy access to ask said questions and share your thoughts, and where I will post future updates for this game. On screen now are the chapters that you can jump to. I want to thank everyone personally for taking interest in even just watching this video, and if you choose to follow this game's development, I greatly appreciate you helping fuel my dreams as a game developer. And to the friends who have put up with this for months, I greatly appreciate it. We are going to jump into a new game. The menu that you'll probably be spending the most amount of time in outside of combat is the general pause menu. Here we have the default screen, which has the current party, their current status, and in the bottom left over here we have the party's goal, the time since we loaded in, and the current location. The first tab to look at is the inventory. This is where consumable items and key items will be held. Currently, I just have the Use tab. The key items don't have anything yet. They sit in this grid, and when selected, you can use them in the party. So we're going to use this health potion. Cadence is looking a little low. Use on cadence. And if I go back to the default, cadence is now at full health. There's also these filters here, so you can go from all of your items to just your healing items, to just your mana restoring items, to just your status removing items, which I currently don't have any, and your stat increasing items, which I also currently don't have any. You'll also notice in the bottom right here, there is the info, which is down here, name, what it does, how much it sells for, and a little quick thing. And then there's a lore tab, where if you hover back over it, gives you some useful information about the item. And this is going to be a common theme throughout. The second tab that we're going to look at is the Equip tab. This is going to have all of our characters' regular equipment, and I'll go more in depth on what equipment is later. But at the top we've got our different types of equipment, weapons, armor, accessories, and unique slots. And the down here we have our character filters for everybody in the game. And we also have our info and lore tab. I currently don't have anything written for this. You'll also notice that the color of things will change depending on if it changes your stats, which we'll also get into how stats work later on. There's also an AP bar over here, which is going to be a weapon leveling system, but I haven't fully implemented it yet, so don't worry about it too much right now. If I hit this weapon, I can equip it, and weapons are tied to characters, so you don't have to worry about it not working for somebody else. Equip, it's on them, and if I click it again, I can unequip it, just like that. That works for all these guys. Same with armor. Accessories, which I don't have any of right now. And unique item, I only have one right now for Thaddeus. Nobody else has one. Unequip it. Go back. Does that. The next tab is going to be Scrolls, which is similar to the Equipment tab, but it's slightly different in that we have here our character filters are at the top now, and this grid doesn't change. These are tabs for the different types of spells, which we'll get into later. But the way that these scrolls work, which currently these are just using default textures, are you can teach them to your party members. And these aren't fully implemented yet, so we won't worry about it too much, but it shows your stats, and it shows you the information about everything, and there's filters for the different types. We still have info and lore. The next main tab is Magic and Skills, where you can view each character's spells and skills. On the left here is the magic, on the right is the spells. They also have filters by level. So there's all, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, which currently most of our characters have just first level of everything. If I go to here, though, she does have a second level spell. You can tell because it appears on all in second. These are healing, mostly, but they can be damaging or stat doing. You can also cast magic in the menu by clicking on a spell, as long as it's a support spell, and then hitting cast, which works on the whole party. But we're all full HP, so it doesn't really get to show there. You can also press these magic and skill buttons here to stretch your things out and make them fill the whole menu, which makes it a little easier to read. The next menu is the information menu, where you can check the status of all your party members and read their lore and stories. And these should be updating throughout the game, but currently they are static. I highly recommend that you take a look if you're interested in character stuff. In the middle here we have our equipment, which this is currently a little wrong, but then we have up here what our characters are in terms of class and their level, and then their status up here, and then these are your stats. I'm going to have a whole section on stats later on in this video, but we also have our character buttons down at the bottom to switch, and this is an XP bar, the same as this XP bar. The next menu is the party menu, where you can create parties of 3. They show their status here, and it has our full list of characters. The current switching algorithm is that it takes from everything populates up. So if I get rid of Cadence, Thaddeus is still first, Ira now becomes third. If I put Cadence back, Cadence is now third. So basically, if you want to cycle through your party, you just have to pop them in and out, like so. So now Ira's on top, Cadence in the middle, Thaddeus on the bottom. These 4 characters will be appearing in the final game, but they currently are not implemented in full. I will be taking notes on this one, especially because I feel like this algorithm works, but you may have other thoughts. The next menu that we're going to look at is quests, which is currently empty, but I can fix that real quick. Coming up here, we're going to get a quest, and if I check this menu, it shows our available quests. There are multiple filter options here. There's all quests, story quests, side quests. Open quests are ones that you can get to, but you haven't started yet. Active quests are ones that you've started. And finished quests are in the Done tab. You can also see the rewards on the right, but this currently doesn't give rewards, so it doesn't have anything. There's also a description box here, which I'll show later on. And sometimes having a higher stat might make it easier to learn more about that quest. so it's good to have a wide variety of stats. The next menu is going to be saving and loading, which is pretty much as you'd expect. At the bottom of each panel is this stuff, the gold, playtime, and name, and then the status of each character. There's 3 files here and a autosave file. You can't save to the autosave file, but you can load from it. These ones you can save and load from. It also tells you where you saved, which is useful because this was from a autosave area entrance. So if I come down here, that originally said the field. If I go in here, this is an in, but if I come out, it saves as this location, which is testing. And the last menu that I'm gonna hit real quick before, well, I have one more menu, but the last one to hit real quick is this exit button, which brings up an exit prompt that very importantly says if you haven't saved, you should do that real quick because the game doesn't auto-save for you on exit. And our last menu here is the options menu, which I'm going to go in depth about. First up here we have our controls menu. Simple controls of up, down, left, right, pause, accept, back, scroll up, scroll down, next page, and last page. I currently just have a bunch of random buttons in here that I use, but you can set them to whatever with the sign. And then I can select I want W, up, and I want up on my D-pad, take the sign. Currently joystick does not work, but the D-pad does. And then if I can run around with my controller, I can run around with my keyboard on WASD, I can run around with my arrow keys. Select, or accept is just your interact button pretty much. The mouse will always work for any menu, so if I talk to this guy and then I'm like stuck, I can just hit these buttons with my mouse and click through. You can't just click with the mouse as of now unless you choose to. I think you can set that up. Except this button, this button, left click, enter, sign. So now I should be able to just, simple enough. The next panel in the options is the audio. Simple master volume slider, music slider, which I'm currently leaving at 0 because of aforementioned copyright issues. And then sound effects you can also slide around. Pretty easy. Our video tab has things like the brightness, which currently does that, but will be fixed in the demo. There's a VSync button, which just turns VSync on and off. There's a full screen button, which makes it full screen or not. And then resolution options from 1920 by 1080 to 2560 by 1440 and 3840 by 2160. Those are our higher ones. But this also goes all the way down to 640 by 360. I hope OBS captured. Yeah. We're just going to set it back to full screen and put it at a resolution good for my computer. The last menu is customization, which I think is my crowning jewel of this one. The customization menu is where I let you kind of make the game your own. This menu gives you options for menu border, font, menu panel color, menu border color, font color, health color, magic color, stamina color, AP color, next character color, current character color, positive bonus color, and negative bonus color. Whew. And a lot more options planned for the future should the need arise. Currently there are 2 just basic borders. There's this one, which is what I've designed the game around. When it loads in, there we go. This is the one I've designed the game around with white font. So this is what things are based on for now. But there's also a simple one, which when you get it will be like this mostly. The default is like this, not that way. This menu is extremely laggy. However, once you're done editing the colors, it works just fine. And there's also another font option for my dyslexic folks out there. And it goes back to running smoothly once everything changes. These are mostly going to be the default colors for the game, but as you can see here, you're free to change them however you want. Also under the color boxes, let me switch back to this real quick. Under these color boxes, if you click on the actual square itself, it brings up a color picker, which works for mouse and keyboard. I haven't gotten good success with the controller, even though I'm kind of using it right now. So, if you can make it work, cool. Otherwise, there's these sliders here, which do work with controller. Very slowly, but they work. I'm going to switch it back to this. The colors I like, because it's very pleasing to my eye. Player expression is the main goal of this menu. However, I also wanted to make a tool that can help out people with color blindness, as accessibility is one of the things I really want to focus on in my game and make it a game anybody can play no matter what is going on with them in their life. And I will be accepting any and all ideas as long as I can implement them. And I will work as hard as I can to implement them. I also have what I like to call invisibility protection, which is that you can change the alpha values of all these colors, but if I do this, I close and reopen this, I made it so there's a minimum value so you can still kind of see everything, and you can still get back to the proper menu and fix your colors back to be normal again, should you choose to make it too invisible. Currently the accessibility panel has no settings on it, but this is where you come in. Please give me suggestions. I really want to make an inclusive game, and I really want anybody to be able to play it, as I said. Once controller works better as well, this menu will be easier. And I want to make 1.0, whenever that comes, as fun as possible for everybody. Now we're going to get into items and equipables. As we've already gone through, Project Aelia has a plethora of item types. There are 3 main types as of right now, each with their own subsets, but there is still 1 or 2 more planned. The 3 types as of now are consumable, equipable, and scroll. Later on I plan to add key items, but they are currently not implemented. Consumables are any item that can be used to do its own effect. There are 3 types of consumables as of now, with another planned in the future. Those types are restoring, which is our healing and our mana, status removing, which don't have implemented here, and stat increasing, which is also not implemented here. Battle items are also being planned in the future, which would be things like throwing knives or whatever. Restoring items are very straightforward. They are just used to restore your health, mana, or stamina, and can always be used in or out of battle. Status removing items will remove a status from your character, such as paralysis or a bleeding effect. Currently, statuses are restricted to battle, so they aren't that useful outside of it, but eventually it'll be useful to use them anytime. Stat increasing items are very simple. They increase a desired stat. As part of these would also be a respec item, but we will get more into stats in their own section. Equipables are any item tied to a specific character that serve a constant function. There are 4 types of equipables: weapons, armor, accessories, and unique slot items. Weapons are equipables designed to help you do more damage. Armor are equipables designed to help you take less damage. Accessories are designed to give you some extra benefit. And unique slot items are different for each character to help give them some sort of benefit. Equipables can also come with skills to boost the player's power. Accessories and unique items can have a wide variety of purposes, from a health or stat boost to wild extra abilities like granting lifesteal. Unique items, being individual to characters, each follow a theme, like shields for Thaddeus or musical instruments for Cadence. Each character is going to have their own spread of unique slot items, except for Ira, who will instead have 2 accessory slots. Weapons will also be tailored to individual characters, with only some characters being allowed to use certain weapons. A lot of armor also works this way, but there are some armor pieces that may be shared between a couple of characters. As of right now, that is not implemented. As mentioned before, there's an AP bar for some equipables. And I eventually want to include leveling to equipables, but I haven't settled yet, so currently AP does nothing. Scrolls are very specific consumable styled items that will teach the player a spell as long as they meet the scroll's requirements. Scrolls will have a stat requirement to allow them to be taught to a character, but as long as those stats are there, any character can learn any spell. If you have any ideas for items or an expansion to these items, please let me know. Characters in Project Aelia have a lot of different stats to track. There's health, mana, stamina, strength, vigor, wisdom, constitution, dexterity, luck, and charisma. Health is quite simply just the amount of damage you can take before you die. Mana and stamina are each their own resource tied to a specific set of abilities in battle. Mana lets you cast spells in and out of battle and requires you to use some sort of restoration to fill it, while stamina lets you use skills only in battle and regains itself a little bit each turn. Strength determines your character's physical attack damage. Vigor determines your character's physical defense, their ranged attack defense, and can increase your health. Wisdom determines your character's magical attack damage and can increase your mana. Constitution determines your character's magical defense. Dexterity determines your character's speed, ranged attack damage, and increase your stamina. Luck, while not currently implemented, will affect your crit rate, evasion, accuracy, and flee chance later on. Charisma is also not fully implemented, but it will be used to get more information out of NPCs later on. Every character comes with 2 minor proficiencies and 1 major proficiency. Every level up, all stats increase by 1, but the proficiencies increase further, with minor proficiencies increasing by 2 each level and major proficiencies increasing by 3 each level. These are often listed as your +1 and +2 stats within the code and menus. There are a few ways to alter your stats throughout Project Aelia. These methods are regular stat allocation and stat increasing items. Stat increasing items simply increase your stat by either 1 or 2 points depending on the rarity. Another stat changing item will be a respec item, which will allow you to reallocate your entire spread but will be extremely rare. It's also not even close to implemented. Stat allocation will occur every 5 levels. Doing so will allow you to change your minor and major proficiencies for the next 5 levels. The menu gives you 4 points to spread around for the next few levels however you want, with a stat getting a maximum bonus of +2. This lets you do things like a +1 to 2 stats and a +2 to 1 stat, or +2 to 2 stats, or +1 to 4 stats. On the allocation screen, the character's base proficiencies are listed as recommendations, but you can choose whatever you want to build characters however you want. With spells requiring certain stat spreads and quests requiring certain stats to reveal more information, changing your character's stat spreads every once in a while can make them more able to do certain things. NPCs are anything that, when interacted with, will pop up a dialogue box. This includes other characters, signs, and anything in between. Shops are NPCs that also have things for sale and allow you to sell your items. Like right here. Stuff for sale, sell my inventory. Shops can have a limited or unlimited stock for their items, and it can even be different per item. Area entrances are just boxes that you can enter to transition from one screen to another, and they can either autosave or not autosave when you enter them. I'll show that off right here. There we go. Doors simply open or close if you enter them, or if they are unlocked, which for the current build, all doors are. They can also create an area entrance to walk through to enter in a different room from that door. Interactable objects are anything else you can interact with that give you something or do something, like items on the ground, chests, or levers. All of these interactables also have the ability to unlock, start, update, or complete quests if necessary. Quests are the largest thing added to this 0.1.0 build. Quests are a set of activities that result in some reward or advancement of some story. Quests can be either available, active, or complete, and there are two types of quests, standard and gathering. Standard quests are any quest that gives a series of steps to complete. Another way of putting it is that any quest where you do A, then B, then C is a standard quest. Gathering quests simply need you to collect enough of something to finish the quest, like reaching a certain level or collecting enough of an item or killing enough of an enemy. Available quests are quests that the player has the ability to start but they haven't started yet. Active quests are any quests that have been started but their requirements haven't been finished. And complete quests are quests that have been finished and have the rewards given out to the player. Spells and skills have gone over a lot of this devlog, but I will attempt to quickly consolidate that information. Spells and skills are both powerful actions you can take in battle to turn the tide. They have some similarities and some differences we'll go over real quick. Spells use mana to cast, while skills use stamina to use. Mana can only be restored with items or outside effects, while stamina is regenerated every turn. Both spells and skills can be used in battle, but only support spells can be used outside of battle. Some characters' power will be shifted more towards spells or more towards skills, depending on their default state. They also share targeting systems for battle, specifically only party, whole party, only enemy, whole enemy, and anyone. Every 5 levels, your character will gain 1 spell and 1 skill from their learn list. You can also learn both outside of this in the form of equipment skills and spell scrolls. Equipping certain equipment will give you skills while you have it equipped. As part of equipment leveling, you may be able to keep these skills, but I haven't figured out quite how I want to do that. Spell scrolls will allow you to learn spells and consume a scroll as long as you have the required stats to use them. Spell scrolls can be taught to any character who meets these requirements, but equipment skills are still somewhat tied to character, as equipment is somewhat tied to character. The main gameplay loop is a turn-based battle system. Let's quickly go over the menu before we go into your options and the systems in place. In the top left, you will see the turn order with the current character highlighted in one color, currently it's blue, and the next character coming up highlighted in your next character color, which is currently red. In the center of the screen, you will have the party on the left and the enemies on the right. The enemy group can have up to 5 enemies, with the last slot being available for a boss. At the bottom of the screen, we will have the info for the party and the report box at the top of this menu. Each character has their portrait, health, mana, stamina, and their current status effects. On the left side of this menu is the battle options: attack, magic, skill, item, and flee. Attack is a standard attack against an enemy, as you can see here. Whether it uses physical or magical attack will depend on your character's class, and it is not changeable. Magic... well, getting my ass kicked right now. Right. Magic simply pops up your spell list and lets you use a spell as long as you have the mana for it. Which I'm going to quickly heal Cadence. Cadence now has more health. Skill lets you do the same with your skill list as long as you have enough stamina. This currently does nothing, but sad. The item button brings up your consumable items, and you can use them on anyone if you really want to give a potion to your enemies. I'm not going to do that now because Cadence is dying. Yep. So this play out a little bit. The flee button is currently a flat RNG roll to leave, but it will eventually be calculated using both your character's dexterity and luck to escape. Let's see if this works. I got away safely. Lovely. Now let's let a full battle play out. Alright, so with Cadence, going to use this spell, do some damage. And then I'm going to attack with Thaddeus because his sword is the strongest aspect. Then we're going to use this spell with Era because it does a lot of damage. For Cadence, I'm going to use this skill to make everybody faster. Whoa there. That's not good. There we go. Now everybody's got a status. And I can attack again as Cadence. So I'm going to use this spell. And you notice that everybody shifted in the turn order up a bit. Thaddeus is going to attack this guy. Era is going to attack all of these guys. And Cadence is going to close us out. And there we go. At the end of battle, a screen pops up with every party member, even those outside of your current party, and shows the XP that they gain. Everybody gained 350, 350, 350, 87 down the board. Everyone gains EXP from battle and any other XP reward, but those outside of your party only gain 25%. Once you leave this, you will see that the gold and item rewards are on the next page, and you can even get back, and then you can exit battle. The 0.1.0 demo takes place in a demo-exclusive area called Teston. Teston is home to many people and shops, as well as two key locations: the International Guild Association Teston branch, which you can see over here, and Mayor Sunny's house, which we can see over here. These are where you'll be able to find some quest hooks to carry on a mini-adventure. The western gate out of town is currently blocked off, as you can see here. And the south gate leads to the Teston Wild area, and if you're able to cross it, the Teston Forest. I highly recommend that you explore. Feel free to read everything. Hopefully at least an hour of content within this. We'll see. It's currently jam-packed, but You may be faster than me, or I may not be able to perceive how long it'll take people. I really encourage you to stretch this thing to its limits. For now, I'm only going to be giving direct access to the demo to some people who I absolutely trust not to redistribute it. If this game does pique your interest, there is a link to the Discord for this game in the description and on screen now. Even if you aren't able to play now, I would greatly appreciate you taking a look, and once I have more assets, I plan to make the next demo open to the public. Feel free to spread the word as well. As for the future, I still have a lot planned to go. There's 4 more characters to add, keys for doors, luck and charisma, expansion for spells and skills, much more quality of life, and of course your suggestions, as well as, the whole game. After the next demo, assuming more moles don't pop up, I can begin working on the actual scenario of the game and you can head into Aelia itself. I won't make any promises on when the next demo will be, as it's something I do outside of my day job, but updates on progress will be in the Discord. If you're watching this video right now, that means that the demo is already available to those who I have given access. If you are one of those people watching this video right now and you don't have access, let me know. The demo in its current state is not fully complete. It is as complete as I can get it by the deadline I have imposed upon myself. There will be minor updates coming within the next few weeks until I can get it to a place where I'm completely happy. And then from there on, you will be getting major updates that expand upon it in the future. I appreciate any interest that you may have, and I really hope that you enjoy this demo, and I really hope that you enjoy my game in the future. I have been Derek, and I will see you all, hopefully, in the world of Aelia.